Welcome to yet another edition of the GLORY Kickboxing Podcast, coming to you from my mother's basement. My name is Todd Grisham, and coming from a Canadian jail cell, it seems, he is the former welterweight champion of the world, Joseph Valtellini.
Leave my walls alone, buddy. What's wrong with my gray walls?
Look, I mean, look at this. Muhammad Ali versus Joe Frazier autograph on the other side of my, look at this. I got UFC giant posters. What do you got? Why don't you hang your, Glory title up behind you or something?
I can't. I wear it all the time. I don't own a belt, so.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. I have to, man. I don't. It's the most expensive belt I own. I think the girls would like it.
You set that one up, man. Hey, well, listen, we got somewhat breaking news, depending on what time this podcast hits the market, so to speak. Rico Verhoeven, the world heavyweight champion, has just been booked for his next fight, May 20th in Den Bosch, Netherlands, which is close to his hometown. He's fighting a guy that we don't know too much about, Islam Lazar. What do you know? What can you tell us?
Well, I know Lazar fights, I believe, in an organization called Infusion, and he's the champion, but I don't know too much about him. I heard he's got an undefeated record. I heard he's got a lot of knockout power. So who knows? To jump in and fight Rico like that, he's got to be pretty good. And if Core Hemmers is scouting him, he's got to have that talent.
He's 32-2. He has 2 draws, so 34 professional fights, only 2 losses. And when you look at this guy,
2 losses or 2 draws?
He has 2 losses and 2 draws.
Okay.
According to what our Glory press release says. And we're banking on that press release, guys. Don't throw us under the bus here. But you look at video of this guy, you see pictures of this guy, Lazar, and he looks fat. He looks like a dough ball, like a giant little.
Yeah, I saw some pictures.
And I talked to Rico this morning about it. As soon as I heard about the fight, I actually Skyped with him about it. And I said, Rico, what do you think about this guy?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. I'm so happy that that Glory's organizing another event in Holland, and I'm back. I can show my skills for my fans, but also for my new fans, because after December I got so many new fans. It's been so crazy here with everything. So yeah, I'm ready. I'm excited, and a new opponent, Ismail Lazar, who hasn't fought in Glory before, but definitely a force to reckon with. So yeah, let's see what's gonna happen.
Now, when people look at your physique next to his physique, you look like you're just going to destroy this guy, but he's been fighting people much bigger than him with much better physiques his whole life, and he's 32-2. He's only been beaten twice and 34 fights. What makes him so dangerous?
The thing is, I think people underestimate this guy because he's a wolf looking like a sheep. Because people think hey, I can beat this little fat guy, but he has skills, for the. And I think it's very special that a guy with his physique, and he's not so tall as well, that he just knocks heavyweights out like it's nothing. So yeah, he's definitely a good guy.
Now he's of Moroccan descent, but is from the Netherlands. Have you crossed paths with him before in the gym? You ever trained with him? Do you know much about him?
No. What I know about him is he's a very respectful guy, and I saw his fights. He's always he fights always very clean. He tries to put up good fights, but again, he's not on my level. So I'm gonna show that.
I hear your daughter in the background. Is she excited that Daddy's gonna be fighting soon?
Yeah, of course, but she just got from school, so she's not so happy right now.
I got up at 4 a.m., Joe, to do that interview, Eastern time. You were sleeping your little baby face off while I was working.
Sure everybody listening is appreciating your early wake-up call.
But, hey, Lazar, you've seen what kind of power he packs. Kind of like the Caitlin Morsanu, those who saw him in Chicago. All it takes is one punch. Do you see him landing it?
He's a big boy, and at heavyweight, you gotta look at that as weight behind the punch. Roy Nelson is an example of one of those bigger guys who embrace that big size.
Yeah.
Who knows? Something interesting. You got to think though. Rico coming off of Badr and now fighting someone unknown. It's kind of, it's a risky fight for him. You got to think of the other guys who, someone like Adik Boui, his training partner. I wonder what he thinks.
Yeah.
Jamal Ben Sadiq.
Well, from what I understand, Jamal Ben Sadiq actually got hurt. I believe he either fell off a motorcycle, off a bike, has some sort of rib injury, so he could not fight Rico. That's the fight everyone wanted to see. So that can still happen down the line. But this is the opponent they found. And not only is he dangerous, but he is from the Netherlands. He's of Moroccan descent. And from what I understand, he's from very close to Den Bosch. He's going to have a big crowd behind him as well, so it should be an electric atmosphere.
I think anytime Rico fights or any big top heavyweights like that fight, it's exciting. Yeah. So we all win anyways.
A couple other fights. We'll get to the Copenhagen card in just a minute, but these fights are kind of breaking right now as we're speaking. We've got Myrtle Grunhart fighting Harut Grigorian, Joe, which means two things. It means two things. Hold on. The first thing is it means Grunhart's in a hellacious fight, and that means he's not fighting Cedric Doumbé, which probably means it's going to be Nicky Holzken versus Doumbé in France. But before we talk about that, let's talk about what is standing in front of Myrtle right now, Harut Grigorian.
Well, I think Myrtle planned things out a little too quickly, and I think his plan was a little different than Glory's and Nicky's plan. But, yeah, Myrtle was pretty vocal that he wanted Doumbé next.
Well, of course, and he won a contenders tournament. But he doesn't get his shot against Doumbé next. But talk about that stylistic matchup. Grunhart versus Harut Grigorian.
Well, we know when Harut Grigorian fight what happens. He's just going to sit in the pocket, be aggressive, which I think is a good style against Myrtle. But what does Myrtle do well? It's Myrtle uses his knees, stays long. So I think stylistically, you know it's going to be a big fight. And Myrtle's last fight was Tongchai, where he just showed aggressive boxing. And so I just think it's going to be an aggressive fight. Like, you have to fight. When you fight Grigorian, you have to sit in the pocket. You have to come forward. You have to counter back. So no matter what, it's going to be an exciting fight.
All right.
But can Myrtle use his knees? That's my big question.
He always seems to find a way. Also, Hesty Gerges versus Chai Lewis Perry. It's going to happen, allegedly, in the first round of a four-man heavyweight tournament there in Den Bosch. So that's a fight we did not get to see. Controversy everywhere. But that was a real moment for us, those who haven't seen the footage. Chai Lewis Perry's fight against Hesty Gerges got canceled in Brussels. Was he ill? Did his gloves not fit? We don't know exactly what happened.
Lots of controversy.
But Hesty Gerges came out to the ring. I interviewed him because he had a lot of fans there. The fans appreciated him speaking, but he basically called Chai Lewis Perry, for the lack of a better word, a pussy. Chai Lewis Perry heard about it, right?
Yeah, he ran out.
Comes running out, screaming at you and me, give me a microphone, I'm going to... We don't give him a microphone because everyone's like, don't give him a microphone. Yeah. He jumps in the ring. It would have been
cool if we did, though.
He jumps in the ring and starts taunting the 4,000 or 5,000 fans there, like, what's going on? They're booing him. Then he gets out and is stare down face-to-face with Gerges. We thought it was going to go down in the crowd.
Yeah, and then we ran away. Well, you ran away. Well, to see two bigs like that, like Chai Lewis came out and he was yelling at me. He's like, what did he say? What did he say? I was like, hey, man, I'm just not saying anything, man. I was like, I'm not going to stir up the pot.
Of course.
So I just sat there and shrugged my shoulders and enjoyed the show.
It is funny. Like
it was good. Like there's a lot of controversy there.
When the Doumbé Congolo pushing and shoving happened at the weigh-in, I'm the first guy that's like, all right, I'm getting out of the realm. There are other people that go into it. You're the guy that just stands there with your mouth open, just wherever you are. You're just like,
yeah, I'm enjoying it.
You're like scanning the crowd. Like I'm like, what is he gonna do, man?
What am I don't know. I'm being unpredictable. Yeah, but that was intense. You did that slow walk back too, where you just slowly started walking back out of the crowd.
Like when Homer Simpson disappears into the bushes, you know that
one?
When
he comes back.
Yeah.
That's all right. Man. At least the ring girl stayed there though and enjoyed the action.
So anyway, we're getting that fight in Den Bosch, and now it's a whole different dynamic because going into their first fight, Chopper Chai was saying stuff like, I respect him, I don't want to talk trash, and Hesty was like, oh, he's not in my league. But now it seems like there's some legit meanness and bad blood.
Well, if you think about it, the first fight was exciting, but now it's unfortunate that the fight didn't happen, but there's a lot more hype around that fight now. I'm even more excited to see the fight now.
And it's the first round of a tournament, so gosh, how emotionally spent are those guys going to be if they make it to the final?
Did the press release say the other two contenders?
It did not. Not that I've seen, but I'm sure it'll be released relatively soon. All right, enough about that card because we've got things happening before that. Do
you want to discuss Doumbé and Nicky quickly? I think that's a good fight that we can't pass up on.
Well, yeah, but there's also a third member here. I have exclusive video here of Antoine Pinto, who's been like harassing Nicky Holzken, not begging, but just saying, you need to fight me. I'm the guy that's the best in the division. I'm the one that has this Muay Thai style that can beat you. And he's been going at Nicky, and Nicky's been responding a little bit. And he sent
he replied on Twitter, I think.
Yeah, but he sent us this video especially for our podcast. So let's take a look at that.
What up, Joe? What up, Todd? I'm a big fan of you guys, big fan of your show. Keep all the good work going. You guys are doing great. Now, let's get to business. Somebody's running away from me. Nicky, you know you can't hide forever. Nicky, you can run away like that. We gotta give the fans what they want to see. Nobody wants to see boring kickboxers running into each other like bulldogs without a brain. People want to see style. Muay Thai versus kickboxing. This is what people want to see. Let's give it to them. Stop running away claiming you're the best. I'm here now, and you're not the best. I'm telling you.
Joe, I know you and Nicky had a big battle back in the day, but you guys have the same sort of mentality, same demeanor. You don't talk a lot of trash. You don't get too emotional. But what would you do if this guy was calling you out like this?
I don't know. I'd want to fight him. I think everyone in the welterweight would want to fight him. You know, he has that little look of him, the pretty boy who's got that little bit of arrogance to him. So he's one of those guys that you just kind of want to fight. If he's in the division and he's calling you out, he's a guy that you'd want to just fight right away. So I'm sure Nicky, and it seems like Nicky's very emotional. Like we saw him get a little bit emotional when he fought Myrtle the first time. So I think those people know that those words bother Nicky. So people are coming hard at him. So, yeah, I'm sure Nicky's boiling inside and wants to go at it.
Well, it looks like, just based on that, Grunhart has that fight now in Holland, that it will not be Pinto versus Holzken, but it's going to be Holzken versus Cedric Doumbé for the title, most likely in Paris, France. What an atmosphere that'll be.
That's going to be crazy, especially Doumbé being at home, Nicky returning to get his title back and trying to capture the title back, which is crazy. But it's going to be a wicked fight. I think Doumbé has a very unorthodox style, and in that first fight, I think it could be very similar to the first fight. I got to see how Nicky's going to adapt to it. I hope Nicky decides to come back to more of his roots and decides to be a little bit more aggressive, not counterpunch as much, see if he can cut that ring off against Doumbé, but it's going to be a good fight.
Yeah.
The welterweight division, man, I'm telling you, is going to be one of the most hyped up divisions. There's a lot of controversy, a lot of people calling each other out. I think right now the welterweight division is one of the best divisions.
Makes you want to jump back in, doesn't it?
Yeah. But then it's tough, and then I would have to have the belt, and then no one would ever have a chance to win the belt again because I'd be owning it.
You'd stuff everybody down. It wouldn't be fair.
It wouldn't be fair. Poor welterweights would have all these sore legs all the time from the low kicks I'd be giving them. So, yeah.
It'd be like Cristiano Ronaldo playing, 8th grade soccer. Just
different level.
Yeah, different level. All right, we've talked about all this stuff coming way down the line. Let's go more immediate. Glory 40 Copenhagen. Joe, you've been there. I know a bunch of blonde chicks that are still stalking you to this day from that country. I know you're going to have a good time, but how about the main event, Simon Marcus versus Jason Wilness, Part 3?
Crazy is all that fight is. Again, I'm friends with Simon Marcus, him being Canadian. Got to see Jason Wilness, do so well. I got goosebumps thinking about that fight, but yeah, I'm pumped for that fight. That's a fight I've really wanted to see. It's one of those fights that has history behind it. They're both 1-1. Simon Marcus winning the first one in Dubai, and then obviously Wilness knocking out Simon in their last fight with Simon getting too confident with his head movement. This just sets up a good fight. Simon's in Thailand training. Every time I see all the guys from Coliseum, they talk about how scary and how powerful Wilness is. So, man, I think both guys are at the peak of their careers, and it's just a perfect time for this fight.
I can't wait for it. And, Simon Marcus, let's be honest, he looked like the best fighter in the history of kickboxing the first round of that fight or the first few minutes of that fight. And then he just got away from him. He got too confident. He turned into Cedric Doumbé, and Wilness lit his ass up. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and even after when Wilness defended his title against Adesanya, Simon Marcus was there live in Los Angeles. And Simon Marcus had some words, and I know Coliseum was a little, bothered by Simon's words. So I think there's a little bit of hype behind it, but they're just two different types of personality. Wilness is that stone cold killer where he doesn't have that. He doesn't even smile. I don't think I've seen the guy smile once, where Simon's a little bit more jokey, but both emotional fighters, and when two emotional fighters fight, it's always a good fight because they'll always leave it in the ring.
It's one of those fights where, we look at our card ahead of time. I'm sure you do this too. And you're like, okay, this fight. You're like, I cannot wait to call this fight. Like, I just can't wait to just hear what I say when something crazy happens because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's unpredictable. Maybe we'll put this one on camera so we can see our reactions to it. Because I know there's going to be a lot of action.
You want to see your O face, don't you? Oh.
It's going to shoot on me only.
Your little GoPro that you bring on the road. What was the thing you posted? Like, what do you call it? Travel with Joe?
I did that behind the scenes. I wanted to show people what we do behind the scenes.
No, it has a cheesy name. What is it?
On the go with Bazooka Joe.
On the go with Bazooka Joe. Come on, kids, and get on the go.
Go? What's wrong with it?
No, it's good. It's catchy.
Are you upset you weren't in it long enough?
I was in it. Did you showed me kicking, giving some inside low kicks, right? Hit our photographer, James Law.
You did. You were actually taping at that point. Whitney ended up giving some low kicks.
Whitney Miller. She'll be in Copenhagen.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we have Wilness. We have Simon Marcus squaring off. We also have Nicholas Larson, who is fighting in his home country. And this guy's journey back has been incredible, has it not?
Oh, it's been nuts. He was sidelined for, I believe, 2 years with a staph infection that almost took his life. He had to relearn to walk again, never mind learn how to fight again, and he had a successful debut. So he's back. Before this whole craziness happened, he fought Andy Risty. He was fighting the top guys in the division before this, so he has to climb his way back. But with those near-death experiences, he's got to have a new mindset to him. He's motivated. He's still confident. He's positive. He's a good kid. He's got a good brand behind him. He's got
still young, too. And you know what? You said he almost died. He legitimately almost died. They almost had to amputate his leg. And here he is in the premier kickboxing organization in the world. And in his return fight, he looked fantastic. Flying knee after flying knee.
Yeah, he was just putting pressure on, just boxing and kneeing the crap out of his opponent.
Yeah.
It's a good fight.
And then the main event, my boy, Richard Abraham, back, trying to bounce back after his loss to Antoine Pinto. He squares off against Jamie Bates of England, who won a smaller Glory, or won a couple fights on a smaller Glory card. And Cor Hemmers was so impressed. He's like, this guy's ready for Richard Abraham in the main event of the Super Fight Series in Copenhagen.
I haven't got to my studying with Bates, but like I said, if Cor Hemmers saw something, he's one of the most experienced, athletes, coaches, talent operations in kickboxing, so he's got to have something. But Richard Abraham with Pinto, there's a lot of controversy in that fight, and I know he even wants a rematch with Pinto.
Everybody wants Pinto.
On that fight.
Hey,
everybody wants Pinto.
We were talking about that.
Which is good. He's building height.
Yeah, we were talking about that card coming up in the Netherlands, Glory 41, May 20th. I forgot to mention that it's official that Van Roosmalen will be fighting Pech Panamorong for the now vacant featherweight title.
Yeah, that's a tough fight for Panamorong, man.
I just was saying it out loud to make sure I got everything right. And you're like, yeah. You did good, yeah.
You did well.
Here's my personal view. I know I'm not supposed to pick sides or anything, but I think Pech Panamorong has an extremely tough road to hoe in that fight.
I was talking, Matt Embry and I were training yesterday, and he knows Pech Panamorong, and he was saying Pech Panamorong fights in Thailand at 118 pounds.
Wow.
Now all of a sudden here he is in Glory fighting at 145 pounds. So I think the biggest advantage Robin has is that big size and big aggressive forward pressure. But the young kid's got 180, 200 fights.
Right.
So he knows fighting.
And Sidichai has gone on record. He told us this. He said Pech Panamorong is actually better than me. He's better than me.
And with Sidichai, Robin's 1-1.
Yeah. But like you said, he's smaller, and I mean, yes, he's a fantastic. That left body kick is insane. But is it going to affect Van Roosmalen enough where he backs away, or is he just going to mow right through that?
I think in maybe the first early rounds, Van Roosmalen can be slowed down for it. But I think as the rounds go on, I think that constant robbing pressure and hard body hitting.
And it's 5 rounds.
Boxing.
It's 5 rounds.
Yeah. So I think maybe the first few rounds, Pepanamarung has a little bit more of a chance to use that kick, but Sidichai couldn't really do much damage with it. Robin kept countering with his own kicks. It's a tough fight.
Yeah.
But, you got to give the edge to Van Roosmalen.
So many great fights coming. This is like a lot of our podcasts are not on camera. Usually when we're at the events, they're on camera. When we're at our houses, it's just audio. But look at this. I've managed to get us on camera here, and you can just see the joy in our faces. Can you not? How excited we are.
We just love this.
Oh, you even had the chills
Not
earlier.
only do I get to see you, we get to talk about kickboxing. Look, my 2 favorite things.
Oh, my gosh. It's so exciting. And you got a birthday coming up in May, man. I'm so excited about your birthday.
Are you?
How old are you going to be? 32?
I'm 32.
Wow.
Yeah. Still a young pup.
If you didn't get injured.
Still trying to grow facial hair. I'm still not there yet.
Do you have any pubic hair yet under your arms or anything?
I shave them, so not so much.
No.
Keeping it smooth. Keeping it nice and smooth.
You got serious issues, man. But, all right, so we're going to Denmark in a couple weeks, and then when we come back, are you coming to hang out with me in my beach condo in Alabama?
I need to set the dates. We discussed this.
Exactly. We have discussed it.
We are going to.
All right, man. Well, listen, hey, it was fun talking to you. A lot of exciting fights coming up. Anything you want to say to your peeps? You want to hype your On the Go with Joe?
No, I just want everyone to follow that YouTube channel. I'm giving out a lot of good technical tips. I run a Bazooka Kickboxing Academy online where each week we progressively get more advanced. So I teach you from the most basic, and I'm taking you on to become a professional fighter with my series. Technical tips, vlogs, question and answers, strength series. So follow along if you're a big kickboxing fan, MMA fans. It's just going to bring a lot of good attention to kickboxing, and that's what we want. We want this sport to be at a new level.
You know me well enough. If you had me for 6 months, 4 days a week to train me at kickboxing, and then after 6 months I was put into a glory amateurish type fight, what would happen?
Like we'll put you in a road to glory?
Yeah, road to glory.
I tell you, man, you'd be low kicking the crap out of everybody. How many times? But your jab, you got a good jab. Yeah. Your jab is vicious. It's going to be hard for a lot of guys to get around your jab.
Here's the problem. I'm good at dishing it out. I'm not good at taking it.
That's what we'll work on.
How do you work? You just beat me up?
I'm just going to kick you and punch you and just be so happy doing it. It would just be a great experience for me to just continually hit you. It would be awesome.
In Thai fighting, what are those posts called? It's like a wooden post with wooden sticks hanging out, and guys are just like slamming their arms and legs into the wooden post.
That's like a Wing Chun style.
Oh. Yeah, where they like callus their arms up and guys are hitting with sticks.
You got to get one for your basement.
Yeah, a kendo stick, right? And just have somebody beat the hell out of me.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do. It's body armor.
Yeah, well, I've got some. Trust me, not to get into my sexual side, but I've got some torture stuff down here in my basement for whoever comes. Yeah. That's a joke.
Are you gonna do your podcast on your swing that you have over there?
This is actually where I do my fellowship every Sunday with the people from my Bible class. So anyway, all right, we're getting crazy. Thanks, brother. I'll see you in Europe.
All right, yes, sir. Have a good one, buddy.